We are recording. So good afternoon, everybody. This is the last session in connection with the economics of art and data science. And today we will deliver the basics of the cultural theory in connection with this. Before I start, I would like to highlight that the assignment is already in Moodle, and I would like to get through the assignment at the end of today's class, okay? So as if you have any question or if you have, we can answer it today. Okay, so I'm going to open the PowerPoint. I send you, I think you already have the PowerPoint, don't you? Can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we started addressing this, that the focus is the territorial focus, okay? We are talking about the economics of art in the context of the territory, whether through art we can change the competitive status of a city or rural area, okay? And this depends on two sets of conditions. One, it depends on the cultural infrastructure itself, and second, it depends on the regional position, that is the accessibility of that city, for instance, okay? And the airport accessibility or highway accessibility, these are conditions that are also important. We'll start by analyzing the first one, the conditions related with the cultural event and infrastructure. We started analyzing testing for the global media visibility of 3 case studies, the Elfi Philharmonie in Hamburg, Copenhagen Opera House, and Oslo Opera House. And we benchmarked them through Google Analytics. I think we have done plenty of exercises in connection with Google Analytics, so we are not going to get into this today, okay? We need to establish the basics of the theory. So we are going to focus on the economics of cultural images, okay? From the demand side, good afternoon, Sidik.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. From the demand side, the theory of consumers for the art market is totally different than the theory for consumers of any other good. In fact, normally in the faculties of economics and business, they do not teach the theory of economics of art, okay? Because it is an outlier in the theory. So there are big differences related to the economics of art and the economy in general, okay? So let's start with two examples. Imagine that it is raining, okay? It is raining and I don't have an umbrella. And I decide to buy an umbrella because I have a problem and I'm going to buy an umbrella. So I go and I buy the umbrella. Which is the utility of that umbrella for me? Is it big or is it small? Anyone?
I think it's big because it covers you from the rain, and
Is excellent, Jacob. Yes, it covers me from the rain, so the utility is very high. Okay. And then I get crazy and I say, oh, I'm going to buy my second umbrella. So I buy the second umbrella, okay? Which is the marginal utility of the second umbrella? Is it high or is it lower than the first one?
it would be lower.
It is lower because I already have one umbrella before. And then I become even crazier and I buy my third umbrella, okay? So which is the marginal utility of the third umbrella? Is it higher or even lower?
One lower.
Lower, yes. So in the physical world, the marginal utility of consumption declines, okay? Declines. The more you consume one good, the marginal utility decreases, okay? And this is very clear. It is raining, I buy my first umbrella, the utility of the first umbrella is very high. But then I buy the second one and the utility is not so high. It is lower, much lower. And then I buy the third umbrella and the utility is very low, okay? What happens with the consumers in that market? Imagine, in my case, for instance, Bon Jovi, okay? I hear a song by Bon Jovi. Do you know Bon Jovi?
Yes, I've heard about
Yes.
him.
Yes, Bon
Yes.
Jovi. Yes, Bon Jovi. Then I hear, it's my life, na 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 na, na 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 na, and I say, wow, I like this song. And then I listen the song, hear the song twice because somehow I like it, and then I hear it again and hear it again, and up to one point that I get crazy with Bon Jovi, and even my haircut is Bon Jovi cut. Okay, so the marginal utility increases. The more you consume it, the more you like it. Okay, the more you consume it, the more you like it. Okay. This happens with pieces of art that are really singular and are real pieces of art, okay? So this is why we talk about increasing returns to utility up to addiction. The more you consume these real pieces of art that are singular, the more you like them. So it is absolutely the opposite of the physical world. Because in the case of the umbrella, it was diminishing returns to utility. Do you remember? Whereas in the art and culture, it is the increasing returns to utility. In goods, art and culture goods that are very singular, the more you consume them, the more you like them, okay? And this is key. From the supply side, the supply is the production, okay? So on the supply side, we say that the digital images, the marginal cost is close to zero. To produce a song is very expensive to produce because you need to compose it and you need to produce it. But once it is digital, is it easy to reproduce? Once it is digital and you have uploaded to the internet, is it easy to reproduce? Anyone?
Well, I think we can just copy the document.
Yes, just copy. So it is very easy. The marginal cost is close to zero. Okay, once it is digital, so the production of digital culture goods, fixed costs are very high, but the variable costs are very low. Okay, so this means that in the digital world, the marginal costs are very close to zero. If you combine these two things, the increased returns to utility and the marginal cost close to zero, this means that the digital market has created a revolution in the art and culture products. Okay, every single product operates in a different way in the digital world. Here we saw the other day the infrastructures. We compared the Elbphilharmonie, Copenhagen Opera House, and Oslo Opera House to make sure that which is the demand. Okay, Google Trends is demand of information. So if Google Trends is demand of information, what are we talking about? Demand or supply here in this theory? We are talking about the consumers, okay? We are talking about the consumers, people, consumers or attendants. we are talking about attendance or consumers. That is the demand. So Google Trends is the demand, okay? And then we go to one case study, which is the museum, Guggenheim Museum, which it is mentioned in the question number 2 of the assignment, okay? The headquarters of Guggenheim are in New York, and the outpost is in Bilbao. This museum down here, the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao, had put the city of Bilbao on the map, okay, 25 years ago. So this museum dramatically changed the media exposure of the city. So it was employed as a city branding tool. Okay. It is true that the purpose of art and culture is not to boost the economy of a city, because I myself I love art for the sake of art. Okay, but it is true that some policymakers have employed cultural infrastructures to boost the economy of the city. In one case, a typical case is this one of the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao, okay, which was employed as economic engine to reactivate the economy of the city, as we explained in the first day, okay. Here we benchmark the Guggenheim Museum with the Solomon, as we did. We also did this comparing the Louvre Lens, Pompidou Metz, and the Guggenheim Museum. We did it in exercise, so nothing new here. But the interesting thing is that here in Google Trends, we can see whether they are fulfilling the critical mass of demand, okay? Critical mass of demand means that you need to stabilize the cultural infrastructure at a certain level, okay? So there is a critical mass which is necessary so as the digital images and related culture goods, digital culture goods related with the infrastructure are operating correctly, okay? This is in relation with the supply of information. These are news items. These are newspaper articles published in Google News, collected in Google News, that talk about the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao. And you see that it increases exponentially. So we build up a model here to see which is the impact of the visibility in the newspapers on the number of visitors, okay, with lags. So the dependent variable is the number of visitors, okay? The dependent variable is the number of visitors. And the explanatory variable we want to focus on is the number of newspaper articles that have mentioned the Guggenheim Bilbao, okay? And we are introducing lags. T-1 means T-3 months, because this is quarterly data, okay? And T-4 means a year ago, okay? So here we analyzing two types of visitors. On one hand side, domestic visitors, that is, in the case of Spain, this would be Spanish visitors, okay? And foreign visitors, okay? And it is very clear that the articles published in newspapers now are impacting on the number of domestic visitors now. But you can see here that there is a 4-period lag. So this means that for domestic visitors, that is Spanish visitors, the visibility of the Guggenheim in media now will impact next year, okay? Will impact next year. This is key for all the directors of museums, directors of opera houses, concert halls, and so on, because there are lags. Your visibility in media can impact now, but maybe it can impact next year as well, because there are lags. And we need to get to know which are the lags for each cultural infrastructure, okay? For foreign visitors, you can see here that there is 1 period lag, okay, 1 period lag. So this means that the visibility media now on the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao will impact on foreign visitors within 3 months, okay, or 4 months, okay? There is a quarterly lag. These lags are key. So the manager of each product, cultural product, has to get to calculate or have at least an intuition of which are the lags in my business, okay? The visibility in media, in my case, in my cultural good, how many lags do we have, okay? Do we have 1 lag? 1 lag means 1 delay, okay? Quarterly lag, that is, or 1 year lag. Whether the visibility media now is impacting, will be impacting next year, okay? This is the article and so on. Another aspect is so we are talking about accumulation of image, okay? Accumulation of image means that once and again, your image appears, the image of that cultural good appears in mass media, in newspapers, in videos, YouTube videos, or Instagram, or whatever. Yeah? And the accumulation of image, obviously, is very much connected with the accumulation of semantic connections, okay? Because even the words have connections between them. Yeah? So the more you accumulate, the greater the global visibility of that cultural good. The bigger the accumulation of newspapers, for instance, in mass media, that is that a lot of newspapers are citing your culture good, okay? The bigger the accumulation, okay? And this is key. Experts in innovation, experts in territorial innovation, experts from specialized in innovation for cities, for instance, they know that a cultural infrastructure can reposition the city globally, okay, in the information market. That is, it can change the media exposure of a city. It can change the media exposure of a city. Here we have a case study, the case of Bilbao. Can you see the 2 networks?
Yes.
Yes. On the left-hand side is the connectivity, global connectivity media of Bilbao and Guggenheim Bilbao before the opening of the Guggenheim. Okay, before the opening of the Guggenheim. And the right-hand side is after the opening of the Guggenheim. What do you see there, if I may?
After the opening, it's much more complex. There are many more connections between those points.
Exactly. Okay, so this means that it is a connectivity engine. Okay, this means that the museum is a connectivity engine. Okay, when you think of museums, people or many students or people just think about as the museum as a culture good. Okay, but it could be a global connectivity engine. Here, in the case of the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao, this is very, very clear. On the left-hand side, you have the network before the opening of the museum, and on the right-hand side, you have the network after the opening of the museum. The connectivity has boosted exponentially. So this is very clear that the Guggenheim has put the city of Bilbao in the global map, okay? Has put Bilbao in the global map, okay? Okay, any question up to here?
No questions.
No questions? Okay, So now I'm going to start explaining the question number 2 of the assignment, okay? So this is connected with question number 2 of the assignment. And you can find those that are not attending the class today, they can read this article, because in this article, it explains this network. What is this? The article is entitled Superstar Museums and Global Media Exposure, okay? So this is the first idea. Iconic, big, global, iconic museums that have huge global media exposure, okay? And we are going to open the article. Can I ask you to open the article, please? If you don't have the link, you can Google it, okay? Superstar Museums and Global Media Exposure. I will wait for two minutes until you open it, okay?
Or could you put the link for the article in the chat?
Yes.
If it is possible.
Yes, wait a minute. Wait a minute. DOI, I'm going to put the DOI, okay? The DOI, Can you see the DOI? Not yet. Wait a minute. Not yet. Okay. Now?
Yes.
Did you manage to open it?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. So this article is about global media exposure driven by superstar museums. Okay. So we analyze the top 100 museums. Okay. Top 100 museums. Can you open table number 1, please?
I'm just a bit confused trying to find the table.
Yes, table number 1, you see figures and tables.
Yeah, it's on the
there.
page 57. Yeah.
Yes, it is. You see the list. These are the big ones, okay?
Yeah.
The big 100 globally. Yeah? The big 100 globally, the big ones. It is the data is extracted from that newspaper. As I mentioned yesterday, the Arte newspaper is one of the most important newspapers in connection with art and culture, okay? So, and they have outstanding surveys, dossiers, research work, and they publish every year a dossier of the top 100 art museums attendance, year after year, okay? So the ranking is from the art newspaper, okay? And all these big museums have huge visibility on the internet, all of them. All of these museums have huge visibility on the internet, okay? Apart from this, there is a positive correlation between the size of the city and the size of the museum. Normally, we economists, you don't need to know that, but I would like to explain it. The economists specialized in urban and regional economics, we know that we globally nowadays we have first-tier cities, second-tier cities, third-tier cities, and more we have networks through cities, okay? The global networks that connect different cities. And for instance, first-tier city, the big 2 first-tier cities by excellence are New York and London, okay? New York and London are big global players, and they are the biggest one, at least for now. We'll see what happens in the 21st century, because Shanghai is positioning globally. So we will see what happens there. But for now, the big two players are London and New York. Okay. Then we have Paris, that is also a big player. Madrid is also a big player. Well, and there is a positive correlation between the rank of the city and the cultural infrastructures. Normally, big cities that are very well ranked globally, they have an excellent cultural infrastructure, okay? So there is a positive correlation between the ranking of museums and the ranking of cities. Big cities have very big museums that compete globally and have a lot of foreign visitors in their museums, okay? So in this market of museums, number one would be London, number two would be Paris, and number three, I think it is Madrid, okay? And if you check for the museums, you will see that these three cities, at least at the beginning, they have some museums very well positioned over there, okay? So once we took the museums, what we did, we built up a script and started to analyze extracted data, okay? Can you see the network?
Yes, I can see.
The networks, these are co-citation networks. We analyzed the New York Times, okay? Why did we choose New York Times? We choose New York Times for many reasons. First, because it is located in New York, and New York is a big global player in that market, okay? Christie's, Sotheby's, the big auction houses operate in New York. That market is very big in New York, okay? And New York is a big player in that market. So with London, London is also a big player, but New York is a big player, okay? So this is why, the first reason why we chose New York Times. The second one is that the headquarters of the Guggenheim Bilbao are located in New York, okay? The Solomon Guggenheim Museum, New York. So, and we wanted to benchmark. The third reason is that the New York Times is a very influential newspaper, at least in the Western world. Every single important article that it is published in the New York Times probably will be published in a European newspaper the next day, the following day, okay? So it is, the New York Times is a very influential newspaper globally. And it is influential also in the art market, okay? And last but not least, the New York Times has an API, so as through coding, it is possible to implement an automated extraction of data. So this means that we coded and extracted this co-citation matrix automatically. These are co-citations. What is this? Co-citations means that in one specific article in the New York Times, different museums are cited in the same article. If one museum is co-cited with a highly influential museum, that is good news for that museum, okay? Because normally when you appear in newspaper, for instance, with a highly influential a person or highly influential museum, that is also increasing your visibility on the internet, okay? So can I kindly ask you to watch this network? This is the second network, okay? The second period, because we build up two networks. One for the opening of the Guggenheim, and the second network is 20 years later. Here, we are focusing on the second one, okay? We are focusing on the second one. So these are co-citations. This means that these museums, what is one node? What is the meaning of one node which is much bigger and much central than a node that is peripheral? You have 5 minutes to think about this, if I may.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
I'm going to write it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
In the chat. So we are in the article. We are in figure number. Wait a minute. Figure number. Number 2. We are in figure number 2. Okay. Co-citation network of superstar museums in the New York Times from 2014 to 2019. This just the previous stage before the COVID, the pandemic. Okay. And we have here, we have the notes. The question is, what does the centrality of it says nodes, but it should say node, okay? Node. What is each node? What is each node? Anyone?
Something what can connect to?
Yes, that is lovely. It is node is connector. In this case, each node is what a museum. Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay. Which is the difference between a node which is very central in this network and a node which is not central at all? For instance, which is the difference between Metropolitan Museum, New York, for instance, or Musée d'Orsay? You have 5 minutes to find them. Metropolitan Museum, New York, and Musée d'Orsay, here in this network. Musée d'Orsay is on the right-hand side, very close to Imperial, or for instance, Metropolitan Museum and Imperial War Museum, London. Can you see? Can you find, please, Imperial War Museum, London?
Yes, got it.
It is on the right-hand side. Have you found it?
Yeah.
Please, can you tell me in the chat? Let me know when you have found the Imperial War Museum, London, and Metropolitan Museum, New York, please.
Yes, I got both of them.
Okay. Please let me know when you find the Metropolitan Museum, New York, and the Imperial War Museum there, London. Okay, so we have 1, 2, two. Come on. 3, 3, 4. Lovely. 4, 5. Lovely. 5. Okay. Let's go to the graph. Can you see the network?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you see my, so we analyzing the Metropolitan Museum, New York here, which is very central with the Imperial War Museum, London. Which is these are cositations, okay? Cositations means the number of times these museums are co-cited with another ones in the New York Times. So if the Metropolitan, is the Metropolitan Museum, New York, central or peripheral?
It's one of the central.
Perfect, lovely. It is one of the central, okay? So if it is one of the central, this means that the number of cositations is very high because the node, the size of the node is bigger or lower. Anyone?
The position is bigger.
It's bigger.
It is bigger, yes, lovely. So the number of cositations is bigger. So this means that the more central the museums in this network, the higher the visibility in the New York Times, okay? The higher, the more central they are in this network, the more times they have been cited in the New York Times, the more times they have been co-cited with other museums in the New York Times, and the bigger the visibility in the New York Times. So the Metropolitan Museum, New York, for this period has high visibility in the New York Times and has been cited very frequently in the New York Times. Is this good news or bad news for this museum?
It's a good news. I think.
Lovely. It is excellent news because culture goods as consumer goods need visibility to build up audiences, okay? In order to build up audiences, they need to build up their visibility in media. They need to build up their visibility in media. So the bigger the visibility in the New York Times, the better news for Metropolitan Museum. Okay, and then we have a more peripheral note, the Imperial War Museum, London. What do you think of this? Anyone? Does the Imperial War Museum in London have a central position in this network or peripheral one? Is it in the center of the? Yes, sorry.
It's not in center. It's not in center. It's less co-cited.
Yes,
and,
it is less co-cited. Very well. Very well, excellent. Much less co-cited. And what about the position? Does it have a central position or peripheral position?
Not central.
Not central.
Different.
So this means that in the New York Times, the Imperial War Museum hasn't been cited much, okay? It hasn't been cited much. So this is not good news for this museum. This is not good news for this museum, okay? Although we must know that even the smallest in this network is important because we are talking about the top 100 worldwide, okay? We are talking about the top 100 worldwide, okay? But it is true that the Imperial War Museum here has a very peripheral position, okay? So next step, let's go to the first tier cities, New York and London. Please, you have 5 minutes to get to find the big players, okay? That are located in New York, London, and Paris. Yeah. You have 5 minutes to locate them.
Professor, do you mean British Museum?
For instance, that's located in London. That is perfect.
Yes.
You see the labels. NYC is New York. LON is London.
Yes, but there's 3 as I found.
Yes.
In London.
Yes, there is British Museum. If you go to the list, the table we saw before, it is easier. Okay. Why have I had said selected New York, London, and Paris because they are the big players, okay, in the museum league. So if we go to the list of museums, shall we go to the list of museums again? This is the table. Can you see my table?
Yes.
Yeah.
So number 1 is Louvre, no? With 9 million visitors. And it is located in Paris. So this is one of the big 3, okay? Big 3, I mean New York, London, and Paris. Number 2 is Beijing. Beijing is not, although it is positioning very nicely globally, maybe Shanghai in the art and culture market, maybe Shanghai is positioning better than Beijing, okay? Then we have the Vatican City, which is not a big global big city, okay? It is global, but in economic terms, it's not this notion of first tier, second tier, and third tier cities, okay? Number 4 is Metropolitan Museum, New York. Yes, that is number 1. New York is number 1 in the ranking of cities. So Metropolitan Museum, British Museum, London, Tate Modern, London, National Gallery, London. Number 8 is Hermitage, okay? It is a big player, okay? Then Madrid is number 4 in the ranking of, St. Petersburg, it is an important city, but it is not in the top 10 globally, okay? As a city. Moscow is in top 10 globally, but St. Petersburg is not in terms of the economic power of a city, okay? Madrid is in the top 10, okay? So Madrid is a big player, and we have the Reina Sofia, okay? Then we have Washington. Washington is a big global city. London is a big global city. Taipei is not in the top 10 of big global cities, okay? Paris, again, a big player. Madrid is a big player. So if we get the top 20 museums, from the top 20 museums, how many belong to New York, London, Paris, and Madrid? Can you count, please? from the top 10, from top 20, in the top 20, how many museums out of 20 are in New York, London, Paris, and Madrid?
In Paris, one.
Excuse me?
In Paris, one.
But in total, if you find that, we need to find out
The
out of the
total is
first
9.
20, out of the 20,
Out of 20.
out
Okay.
of 20,
But those total is 9.
9, so 9, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I counted 11 if you include Madrid, okay?
Ah, okay, I didn't include
11,
Madrid.
yes, but if you include the Madrid, 11. So 11 museums out of the top 20 are located in New York, London, Paris, and Madrid. So more than half, okay? More than half are in the top 20. So this gives us a notion of how these cities play globally in the art and culture market. Okay, this ranking gives us an idea of how these cities operate globally. Okay, any questions?
My question is, why are you putting all these countries together, even though they are not the same? Like London, New York, Madrid. What is the significance of that?
Yes, the significance is that globally nowadays, well, from a legal point of view, we have governments in countries, okay? Is it correct?
Yeah.
Yes, but in reality, more and more cities are becoming powerful from the economic point of view globally, okay?
Okay.
Yes, it is. So we have this contrast, okay? We have this contrast that the government is in the hand of countries, but not surprisingly, we have big global cities that have huge economy and are very, very powerful globally, okay?
Okay.
Yes, and these cities that are very powerful globally operate big global museums. There's a positive correlation. Everybody, with economists, I'm economist, sorry for this, but I have been doing research on cultural economics all my life, okay? But there's a positive correlation. The big powerful cities are the ones that invest more in cultural infrastructures, that have museums ranked highly globally. So this is why we use this rank. I don't know whether I have answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Okay. Because there's a positive correlation between the two. I recommend you read the article. I recommend, it is open access, and I recommend you read the article. It is very easy understanding, I think. Okay, very easy understanding. Okay. So, and what about the small cities?
Excuse me, Professor, I
Yes.
raised my hand, but you didn't give me opportunity to question.
Sorry, because as I am in the network, I cannot see the photographs in the Microsoft Teams. Sorry for this. Please,
Okay, no problem.
please go ahead.
Yeah, my question from this diagram, network diagram, is there how would you explain? Could you explain, please, the dots which are on pink and the others are blue? Is there any identification of the color?
The pink is because in that article we compare the Guggenheim New York, the Guggenheim Museum New York with the Guggenheim Bilbao. Okay. New York is a big global city. Bilbao is a small city. Okay, a small city. It is a second-tier city by the European standard, and still they are operating a museum that is not so peripheral. It is quite central. This is the only thing. This is why the only reason why they are highlighted in pink. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Nothing else. Nothing else. Yes. Any more questions? Okay, so now we go to figure number 3. What is this? Eigenvector. Eigenvector is an indicator of connectivity. The higher the centrality of the node, the higher the centrality of the node are more central because they are being more co-cited in the New York Times. Okay, they are being more co-cited in the New York Times. So the more co-cited they are in the New York Times, the bigger the visibility and the bigger their eigenvector. Because eigenvector, as you can see, you see this, can you see this graph?
Yes.
Here, the eigenvector, this is normalized data. The eigenvector is measuring the centrality of the nodes, okay? Any node above these lines means that it is above the mean, above the average. So these museums that are above the lines are above the average, okay? And the ones that are below the lines are below the average in terms of eigenvector. Eigenvector means centrality. The more central the node is in the network, the higher the visibility, and okay, and the bigger its eigenvector. Is this clear enough?
Yes, thank you.
So in terms of visibility in the New York Times, the hyper-cited ones, which one are the museum, the MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, New York, the Metropolitan Museum, New York, Guggenheim Museum, New York, and Whitney Museum, New York, as you can see here. Okay. And then you have the other ones, the National Gallery, Washington, National Gallery, London, and so on. Is New York a big city? Yes, it is first tier. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 museums in New York. It makes sense because the newspaper is based in New York, okay? So the normal thing would be that the museums in New York somehow achieve higher visibility there. Then we have Washington, London, Boston, Paris, Chicago, and Bilbao. You have 5 minutes to analyze the case of Bilbao. Guggenheim, Bilbao. 5 minutes. So could anyone analyze the case of the Guggenheim Bilbao Museum according to this graph? Is it above the average or is it below the average?
Below the average?
Where is the average? The average is, the lines represent the average, okay? The lines, because it is normalized data. Set scores, sorry, I didn't explain this. Set scores is normalized data, so any score above 0 means above the average, okay? So is it above 0 or is it below 0?
Above 0.
Is it above or below? Above, no?
Yes, above.
It is above, yes. But we have two periods. We are comparing here 1995 to 2000 on the one hand side and the x-axis with 2014 to 2019, okay? And in the two periods, the museum is above 0, so this means that it is performing above average, okay? It is performing above average, okay? But is Bilbao a big global city?
Not really.
Not really. Perfect, not really, okay? It is not really a big global city, but they are, you can see here that they are operating a global city, a global museum quite successfully, okay? Because if you go to the ranking of cities, New York, in the up right-hand side, Museum of Modern Art, New York, makes sense because New York is #1 in the ranking of cities, okay? Metropolitan Museum, New York makes sense because New York is #1 in the ranking of cities, okay? Guggenheim Museum, New York makes sense because New York is #1 in the ranking of cities. Whitney Museum, New York makes sense because New York is the #1 in the ranking of cities, okay? National Gallery of Art, Washington, well, Washington is not #1, but it is a big global city, so this makes sense. National Gallery, London, it does make sense because London is #2 in the ranking of cities, so it does make sense, okay? Boston is an important city. It's not New York, but it's not a totally peripheral city. For instance, Harvard is located in Harvard University is located in Boston, okay? And MIT is in the metropolitan area, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So this means that they are big players there, okay? Paris is a big global city, very well positioned globally. So it makes sense that Louvre is there. Chicago is a big global city. Yeah. So it makes sense that Art Institute of Chicago is there. Bilbao is not a big global city. Can you see it? But they have one museum that is above average. Can you see this?
Yes.
So
maybe
it is a counter example to the theory, because the theory says, if you will see in the article, the bigger the city, normally, the more chance you have to have these cultural infrastructures, okay? Excuse me, I interrupted you.
Yeah, I mean to say maybe the museum is filled with some important or unique art that attracts people particularly to that city because of the museum.
Yes, that is perfect. Well done. Perfect. Okay, so we are getting to understand this article, okay? What happens? Maybe in the case of the Guggenheim Bilbao, as you mentioned very nicely, can you see the network here? This,
Yes.
this is the first network, okay? This is the here you see the Guggenheim New York down here, and then the Guggenheim Bilbao, very central, very central. This is the first period, okay? It is true that Bilbao is not an important global city, but the museum managed to achieve huge global awareness, okay, as you mentioned very nicely, okay, in media and mass media, okay. So this means that small players like the city of Bilbao can play globally to the extent they achieve this visibility in media, okay, this huge visibility in media. Okay. Any question in connection with this? So I do recommend you read the article. I do recommend you read the article. And now I would like to open the assignment. Does this work for you?
Yes, please.
Yes, and I would like to read the assignment and comment the assignment with you. Okay. Can you see the assignment?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. So it is in Moodle, so it is due on January the 21st. First question. We have two questions in the assignment. The first question is in connection with Google Trends, and the second question is in connection with this article, okay? First question, the Egyptian pyramids are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, okay? This means that they are cultural goods. Question, please, could you analyze its Google Trends seasonal pattern worldwide from 2004 on? But any question in connection with this? So you need to go to Google Trends, okay, and look for Egyptian pyramids worldwide from 2004 on, okay? And then analyze the seasonal pattern of that data, as we have done in the previous days. Okay, so you need to say whether it is very seasonal or whether it's not seasonal, when are the peaks, and and when are the minimums. Okay, any question?
Does it mean we have to probably kind of draw out the graph and then identify the highs and the lows in the graph?
Yes, and analyze it.
Okay.
Egyptian pyramids are UNESCO World Heritage Site, so this is a culture good, okay?
Okay.
This is a cultural tourist destination, so you need to analyze the seasonal pattern for this cultural tourist destination, okay? Then the second question in connection with the first question is, can you seasonally adjust this series through moving averages? We have done it several times. So you need to download it to Excel, okay? And calculate, transform it, seasonally adjust it through moving averages, as we did yesterday, okay? In an Excel file.
Sorry.
Yes.
Can I ask you something?
Yes,
Yes,
of
the
course.
first question is clear, and the first, but second, how many pages should we write about this article?
the article. Wait a minute. I'm going to finish the first one and then I'll go to the second one, okay?
Second one, yeah.
No, first the first one. Do you have any questions in connection with 1.2? So, and it says, please upload a PDF file and Excel file containing the data set and calculations. Can you see that I'm highlighted this sentence?
Yes.
So you need to upload 2 files, the PDF file and the Excel file, okay? I don't think you will have any problem at all because we have been calculating this 4 full days, 4 days in a row, okay? So I don't think you will have any problem. Okay, let's go to question. If you don't have any question in connection with the first, yes, please.
Excel file, I understand, and the calculation I understood also, but the PDF file related to second question, what kind of PDF file do you mean?
PDF file is PDF file means that you have to write, okay?
Do you mean the file for, that
you need the file with the explanation, which could be this one. I have sent 2 files. This is a PDF, and I have sent the Word as well. So I assume that you are going to write in the Word file, okay?
Responding for the first question or writing
Yes.
responding for the second question?
Well, you need to upload a PDF with the answers of the 2 questions, okay?
Okay,
so
thank
I
you.
recommend you can use the Word, okay? Or you can build up a Word, but it is easier to upload a PDF, transform the Word in a PDF file with the explanation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Leah. I don't know whether I'm clear enough.
Yes, you are clear. Thank you very much for dedicating your time and responding to questions.
Okay, no problem. So if we, and then an Excel. I need the Excel because I need to see that you have downloaded the data and I need to see with which data set you are calculating, okay? So if I need to see in the Excel that you have downloaded the data and I need to see how you have performed the calculations. So this is why I need to see the Excel file, okay? If I may, okay? Does this work for you?
Yes, perfectly works. Thank you.
Yes, okay. So let's go to question number 2. Could you please analyze the case of Louvre Abu Dhabi in the context of the following article? This is question number 1. So you need to analyze the case of Louvre Abu Dhabi. Louvre Abu Dhabi, okay? We have been analyzing Louvre Abu Dhabi with Google Trends. We know where is Louvre Abu Dhabi, so we know something about Louvre Abu Dhabi, okay? So you need to analyze the case of Louvre Abu Dhabi within the context of this article. So what you need to do is to read the article and then analyze the case of Louvre Abu Dhabi. How long? I think that half a page is enough. Because the best thing in this life is to have the clear ideas. So it is first idea, second idea, third idea, okay? And if you want, you can write a little bit more than half a page or 3/4 of a page. But in order to analyze the Louvre Abu Dhabi, you don't need much more, okay? So the first idea would be, is Abu Dhabi a first-tier city like New York? Don't answer, please. Okay, is Abu Dhabi like New York, a big global city like New York? No, okay. And so this is an outpost of Louvre, is it correct? Louvre, which is located in Paris. Okay, so Louvre is a big global brand. It's a globe. Okay, so you need to analyze the case of Louvre Abu Dhabi within the context of this article. Any questions in connection with this? Any questions in connection with this? No questions. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. If there's yes, excuse
yeah,
me. Yes,
I
please
really
go
don't, I
on.
really don't get the second question, please.
The second one, you mean the second two or only two? Because in the second one, there are two. We have the Louvre Abu Dhabi, and then we have the second one, which means, could you please compare the cases of Guggenheim Museum Bilbao and Louvre Abu Dhabi in the context of the mentioned article?
Yes, this I don't understand.
This two.
Yeah.
Do you mean two? Okay.
Yeah, and two also, because I'm thinking, are we just supposed to do the analysis like we did in the class now, looking at the map and just explaining this in
I
few
mean,
words?
this, yes, is you first you need to read the article, okay?
Okay.
I understand it. Then you need to say whether Abu Dhabi is a first tier city, second tier city, third tier city, or which is the ranking of the city, okay? And see whether the Louvre Abu Dhabi, whether they are how they are performing in the second period, in the second network, okay? The second network, because in the first one, it wasn't inaugurated yet, okay? So you need to go to the second network, this one. Can you see my page?
Yes.
No.
First, you need to read the article, okay? First, this is the first step, okay? The second step is to go to figure number 2. Once you have and to figure number 2, okay? Need to go to figure number 2 and work out where is Louvre Abu Dhabi, okay? Louvre is a global brand, and Louvre Abu Dhabi is a branch of Louvre Paris. Is it correct?
Yeah.
So from the branding point of view, is Louvre a strong cultural brand?
Is this a question to everybody or only CIDIC?
No, to everybody. Is Louvre a big global brand? Is it a strong one?
The Abu Dhabi,
No, the Louvre as a brand.
yes, it's strong.
Louvre is very strong brand, okay? In fact, the Louvre Paris is number 1 worldwide, as we saw in the table. So from the brand perspective, Louvre is a very strong brand, okay? What about Abu Dhabi? Would you say that which is the basis of the economy of the Emirates?
The basis of economy of Emirates is relies on tourism for domestic, but mostly for foreigners.
No.
Which is the basic resource of Arabia, for instance, the Arab, South, or Iran, or Qatar, all these countries?
They depend on oil.
Oil, they depend on oil, okay?
Yeah.
They depend on oil and gas, okay?
Yeah.
So, and they are setting up these cultural infrastructures. Which is the aim of this? Which is the policy under this? What are they looking for?
Diversifying the economy.
Lovely. They are looking for diversifying the economy, okay? So they want to generate cultural tourism. Is it correct?
Yeah.
As Leah said very nicely, they want to generate cultural tourism, but the main resource is oil and gas. Okay. So this is why they set up this agreement with the Louvre Paris in order to set up this branch in Abu Dhabi. So in order to be successful, do they have to achieve visibility in global media? What do you think?
Yes, they need to achieve for the visibility.
Of course, they need to achieve visibility in media to be successful. Okay. To be successful, they need to achieve visibility in media. Okay. If not, they will not be successful. Okay. So you need to find out here where's Louvre Abu Dhabi and see how Louvre Abu Dhabi is performing in the New York Times. Do you think that it is important to have visibility in the New York Times, considering that the New York Times is a very influential newspaper? What do you think?
Yes, it's very important.
It is very important because it is a highly influential newspaper, okay? So for any big museum, it is important that they somehow achieve visibility in the New York Times because it is a very influential newspaper, okay? Okay. Which is the common thing among the Guggenheim Museum and the Louvre Abu Dhabi, if I may? Which is the common thing among the two? What would you say?
They both are above from zero average.
They are both branches. Because the Louvre Abu Dhabi is a branch of Louvre Paris and the Guggenheim Bilbao is a branch of the Guggenheim New York, okay? So the two of them are outposts of big multinational museums, okay? So this is the first common thing. Which is the second common thing among the two? Where are the headquarters of Abu Dhabi? The headquarters of Louvre Abu Dhabi are in Paris because Louvre Paris are the headquarters, okay? Where are the headquarters of the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao? The headquarters of the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao are in New York because the Guggenheim, Solomon Guggenheim Museum are located in New York. So the headquarters are in New York, okay? New York and Paris are two big global players. So the headquarters, the two of them are branches, are outposts. What about the city? Would you say that maybe Abu Dhabi is more central than Bilbao? Okay, but Bilbao is in Europe. I mean, Bilbao is in Europe. Europe is a territory in which there is a lot of cultural tourism everywhere. Every single citizen does cultural tourism, one type or another. So it's not the same to be in Europe or not to be in Europe, I think, okay? It's easier, it's easier to be more successful if you're in Europe. But what about Abu Dhabi? How is Abu Dhabi doing?
It's not much easier as.
But how is Abu Dhabi doing? In terms of the city, how is Abu Dhabi doing? What do you think? Is it Abu Dhabi doing nicely or not? You can check it.
But in which aspect, like economically or?
Economically, yes, first economically. And then the Louvre Abu Dhabi itself. You need to compare how the Guggenheim Museum is doing, Guggenheim Museum Bilbao is doing, and how the Louvre Abu Dhabi is doing, okay? And I cannot say more because then I would say I had 10 out of 10 myself. Because I'm analyzing the question, okay? So now, do you feel comfortable now with this question? If I may?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there anyone that doesn't feel comfortable with this question? The second one, I mean. So I recommend you read the article. If you read the article, you will have no problem at all. And you will see, you will read the article in 1 hour, not more, even less, okay? So the first step is to read the article, okay? And get an understanding. And then the second step would be to answer the questions, okay? Think about the questions and then answer them. But you don't need to write more than 1 page at all, okay? It is much easier to develop the ideas in bullets, like first idea, second idea, third idea, okay? This is not a doctoral thesis, if I may. I don't know if I'm clear enough.
Yes, you are very clear.
Yes.
Yes, the most important thing is to have the ideas clear and show them in a clear way. This is the most important thing, okay? Okay, so is there any more questions in connection with this? In connection with the assignment, no questions.
No question.
You will need to upload them to Moodle by January the 21st. But I must tell you that I think you have done very nicely. Very nicely. So congratulations on my behalf. And I think it was a real pleasure working with you through these days. It has been a pity a little bit because maybe we could have had some more teaching, but I think you have done an excellent job, okay, these days, and congratulations. And good luck with the assignment that I'm 100% sure that you will do perfectly well.
Thank you, Professor. Have a nice holiday. Thank you
So
very much.
nice holidays, and I wish you nice Christmas holidays to all of you, and don't work too much. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a nice holiday. Bye.
The same
Thank
to
you.
you. Bye-bye. I'm going to stop recording.